slow news day yesterday?
Actually, no, Roger, it hasn't been.
Wow.
Kishimoto just gave us a ton of info, and I mean a ton. And there's a lot to cover because it's been a while since I checked in on him. I've sort of been busy getting married. But now my attention is fully on you, Morio Kishimoto, and in a good way, as he is confirming so much info. He talks about how Spindash is going to return and work with Boost in Update 3, new details about Update 1 survival mode and redesigned combat, Blaze returning as a playable character, and so many other things, it's actually insane.
Hypersonic.
There's literally hundreds of tweets I had to go through, so I'm only picking out the ones with new or interesting information, as we'd be here for hours if I read every tweet. I also want to mention, because I've seen this rhetoric said a lot, and I want to debunk it quickly, but yes, this is Morio's real account. It's followed by all the Sega and Sonic people, and he's used it since 2015, long before any of this Twitter verified nonsense, which, by the way, he was never a verified account anyways. I'm also going through these chronologically as it makes the most sense, and I might leave out parts of some tweets as there's a lot of repeated information, and I wasn't exaggerating. There's literally hundreds I had to go through. So before we start, drop a like to support Raccoon Nation in these trying times. Double check you're subbed, as YouTube really randomly unsubs, and set the bell to all since, let's be real, I don't post that much as it is. Now, let's get into it.
Hey, yo, it's the Sun Show. Let's go. Hey, yo, it's the Sun Show.
So to start, Morio Kishimoto goes into the third generation. And what's interesting about this is how he mentions not all future games are a part of the third generation. Specifically, he writes, I defined Sonic Frontiers as a third generation Sonic game, but not all Sonic games will be third generation in the future. And I don't think the first and second generations are inferior to the third. I think both generations are great Sonic games, rest assured. And with the upcoming 2D game that we'll cover if it comes up in this video, as again, there's literally hundreds of tweets. And this is just another piece that shows Open Zone is a new playstyle for Sonic, but it's not the default or only one. Next, he goes into how this game's production was different from others, having to develop it from home. He writes, due to the bad 2020 time, the production has decided to actively incorporate remote work. This style of production was new to me, but it has many advantages for me. For example, you don't have to prepare a meeting room, you can have a meeting at any time, there are many stimulating things nearby to inspire ideas, and so on. He then also adds, the 3-hour commute to and from work was allotted to the game production, and that was a big part of it. And with him being able to get more done from home, as there he can have an idea and immediately work on it without having to wait and possibly lose it, shows that some form of virtual and in-person definitely is the optimal workflow for game production. And next, if it wasn't confirmed enough that we're getting another non-mainline game sometime soon, in response to a user asking if future games will continue with a more serious tone, Kishimoto responds with, I'm not the only director who makes a Sonic game, so I think the worldview and atmosphere will change depending on the director. So please look forward to the Sonic games created by various directors. And we already know the next mainline game is going to be directed by him, as he said it many times throughout all of his tweets. But for another Sonic title with a different director to be worked on simultaneously, possibly even for years now, means something's in the pipeline. And as we go through these, I think we'll have a much better idea of what this is. Next, he says something that breaks my little raccoon heart in a response to a tweet writing, Kishimoto, hello! I have a question. Have you ever considered bringing online or co-op multiplayer modes back to Sonic games? Back to Sonic games? Bro, they never had them. And no, I don't count the racing ones. Let's be real. And like a parent telling their kid Santa isn't real, Kishimoto breaks the bad news with, it's always in sight, however, I believe that it will be difficult to move on to the next step without first completing a third generation Sonic game in single player mode. As you know, the game itself still has a lot of issues, so we can't leave it alone. Which I like the idea of Sonic Frontiers having a lot of issues, so they cannot leave it alone. Sonic Team would never do that. Meanwhile, Sonic Forces be like... And while I mostly play multiplayer games as they're infinitely replayable for years, even after the devs abandon it, let's be real. Multiplayer isn't the realistic path for mainline Sonic games, as much as I would want that. Maybe a spin-off game, but it wouldn't be one directed by Kishimoto, so really he's not the guy to ask. Next, someone quote tweeted Kishimoto's response about other directors making Sonic games, and they write, it's been 10 years since there's been a Sonic game other than Kishimoto-san, if it ever comes out. And Kishimoto claps back with, "There's no such thing as Sonic Boom, Sonic Racing Series, Sonic Mania, Sonic Origins, and so on."
Blushing smiley face.
And ooh, the emoji at the end is so sassy. I wish he used the nail one, because this is a major slay from Wario Wishiwoto. Now, obviously, he's making the mainline games, but these spin-offs are open game for anything. And like I said, I think we'll get a better idea of what that looks like. Now, this one will make you Sonic Kiddo fans happy, because Mario gets tweeted, "Hello, quick question, we'll be getting more playable characters in future titles? I miss Blaze and Espio." To which Kishimoto responds, "Hello, as you say, the next step for the third generation is to increase the number of playable characters." Meaning a huge W for adventure fanboys, as this next game truly will be a hybrid of adventure and the modern style in a way we really haven't seen before, as multiple characters will be way more variety than Frontiers, which I'd say still leans a bit more in the boost direction. Next, another facet of what they want to work on gets pointed out by a user who writes, "Are there any plans to upgrade Frontiers combat to be more robust in future games you direct?" To which Kishimoto responds, "Hello, we believe that the next step in Gen 3 is to make combat more robust and exciting," which could be summed up in one word with yes. But regardless, combat will be better. And I actually know this one already from a tweet I saw, but he literally goes into the specifics about the combat in Update 1 later. However, next, he goes into Darkspine Sonic and even drops some new interesting lore in response to a post with a bunch of mistranslations. So many that he actually misunderstood the post. But either way, Kishimoto writes, "Darkspine Sonic is distinguished from the mainstream title Sonic games in the Storybook series. Therefore, it is not easy to make it appear in mainstream titles, as it requires breaking several barriers." Then adding, "By the way, Darkspine Sonic was my idea, inspired by the Dutch Viper racing stripes. This is a development secret at the time." To which the original thread poster goes, "Well, geez, thanks and all, but I was actually talking about Dark Sonic from Sonic X." To which someone else corrects him with that, posting a picture of Dark Sonic, and Kishimoto responds, "Ah, did you mean Dark Sonic from Sonic X? I misunderstood. Sorry. However, the reason is that, like Darkspine Sonic, Sonic X and mainstream Sonic games are separate, so we need time to carefully consider them. However, with how much that originated in Sonic X and got brought over to the mainline games, it's definitely something they're able to do. But to be honest, this more so satisfies the Sonic.exe Friday Night Funkin' fandom more so than actual Sonic fans. Sorry, Friday Night Funkers. Keep doing your thing. Keep on funkin'. It's just part of growing up. One day, you'll find the dark, all-powerful character to be cringes too." And next, Kishimoto confirms another massive thing. W's on W's. Previously, he said he was interested in trying to find a way to add a Spindash role into Frontiers, but his tone has changed in a new response to a user writing, "What are your thoughts on adding more spinball moves to Frontiers? I think the slide could be replaced with the roll. If you're running and tap slide, you would roll instead. I'd also like to see the drift return as a spin move, like Generations. Thoughts?" And Kishimoto drops a huge
Ethan Klein word
with, "Yes, I'm thinking the same as you. We're working on it, so please wait for a while. I'll do my best to meet you somewhere in the third update." So to make it better, not even in the next game, but specifically in Frontiers' third update. And to add to that, he also tweets out a related response from another user who writes, "Is it true that future Sonic games will experiment with boosts, spin dashes, and change the level design to a playstyle closer to Sonic Adventure?" And Kishimoto comes back like a DJ about to fire off a sick drop, writing, "The future, the very near future. I cannot wait until the next work. We have already started experimenting. The results of that experiment should be shown to everyone at some point in the third update. Please look forward to it." And folks, we can't get more clearer than that. He's literally spelling it out for us. But why don't I ask my friend Jordan, what do you think about it?
Yeah, dog, that shit's confirmed.
I couldn't agree more, but it doesn't stop there. The next one's actually an insane drop too. It's in a little thread with a bunch of people that Kishimoto was engaging with. In the original post he responds to goes, "I would like to ask you 2 questions. Is there anything you would like to change or add to the boost gameplay in future 3D Sonic games? Also, what is your favorite Frontiers giant boss theme? I can't speak Japanese, so I'm sorry if my translation is bad." To which I removed it from most, but like 90% of the tweets say that. And Kishimoto responds, breaking the internet and simultaneously stealing your mom, writing, "When I started working on this game, I thought a lot about whether or not it would be possible and decided to hire Boost like an employee. I'm still thinking of trying a Sonic game that doesn't use boosts in my next game. Also, my favorite giant bosses are the first and second ones." To which next, a bunch of back and forth happens between fans, many deleted tweets, and knowing Sonic fans, probably because they got dogpiled. But someone writes something to the effect of asking him,
"Please don't get rid of the boost."
and Kishimoto responds with, "Of course, I understand the benefits of Boost. Please be assured that we will also experiment with the coexistence of Boost and Spindash." But it takes a darker turn from there. However, I also have the feeling that I want to challenge the level design without boosts like the ADV series. After all, the ADV series is a legend. And he's referring to Adventure, by the way. And you might be like, Jaden, where's the dark turn? But it's a dark turn if you're everyone in my comments that's defending every boost game that, frankly, I find a little boring and lame. And next in the same thread, someone sends him an article about his tweet that got 11k likes as encouragement for this no boost title. And Kishimoto responds with, "Thank you for letting me know. I had no idea." It turns out that many people think so. I will do my best to meet everyone's expectations. My opinion is that I welcome it. If he wants to experiment and find a fun way to do a game with no boost, I believe it. I trust the vision. For the first time in my life, I trust Sonic Team. I know, it's crazy. And next, wake up lore fans. That's right, Kishimoto drops a pretty interesting tidbit about the Psyloop's origin in a response to a post writing, "What is Psyloop? How did Sonic learn? Is it his own ability, or did he get it in Starfall?" To which the true lore master Morio Kishimoto, yeah, get wrecked, Cybershell, responds with, "Sharp question. Psyloop itself is an ancient technology used in Starfall. Then why can Sonic use that technology? That being said, characters can I say that word anymore? Guide Psyloop into being able to use Sonic. Please guess which characters is pulling the strings behind this heart emoji?" And obviously he's referring to Sage, but I like to think he's referring to Eggman. I mean, look at the machines he builds. This is all clearly just a game for him. He wants them to be destroyed. He has like infinite money. I mean, if Sage is pulling the strings, who created Sage? Kishimoto next responds to these 3 tweets with all really cool graphics about a revved up spin dash, a boost that you have to earn, as well as a bounce and drop dash to feel more satisfying. And these are, again, great graphics that really help convey these ideas. He writes a simple, "Thank you for suggesting ideas. Great idea. I will consider it. Thank you very much." And while that's not much, I still wanted to show these because they're awesome ideas. And I also want to shout out the creator because I see they wanted some attention, but they pinged Sam or Friedel when they should have pinged the funky raccoon dude, #1 source of Sonic news, also #1 most handsome stud, who you should all follow in the description below. You know what? Why not follow us both? 70% of Sonic Twitter hates my guts, and I need all the support I can get. And that might sound like a random shill, but it's actually relevant because this next tweet, I can only read Kishimoto's response because I'm blocked and, you know, I want to be respectful king, W. And also, it doesn't matter. It's a thread complaining about Sonic's quill length after Sonic Runners and asking if the reason was done so he was more classic. Personally, I believe people who argue about quill length or even the exact shade of blue Sonic is which color should be thrown in forced labor camps. So I'm not really particularly bothered by this block. And Kishimoto responds with, "That's right," referring to modern Sonic's quill length. "It was to bring it closer to classic Sonic. I wanted to add a touch of loveliness to the coolness of modern Sonic." Wait, Kishimoto, what does that mean? To which an unrelated user, who's the first one I've seen who's actually Japanese and not using Google Translate, writes, "Modern Sonic is just modern, so it's better to have long needles probably. Blushy smiley." They follow themselves up with, "Many overseas people are classical. There are many criticisms of modern. If so, modern is also close to classic. However, as a result, people overseas were also fond of modern with long needles." To which Kishimoto responds a more personal response than everyone else got. Basically 90% was just, "Thank you, I'll consider it." And here he writes, as you say, that seems to be the case.
Crying emoji.
It seems that modern should pursue the coolness of modern.
A star shimmer symbol.
And the way he uses emojis, I literally adore. Kishimoto is actually slaying on the timeline. Now this next one caused a lot of controversy, and it's probably one of Kishimoto's biggest tweets, which certainly cements this idea more. So a user, Luke Station, tweets to Kishimoto, "I have a question about level aesthetics in Sonic games. There are many fans who don't like Green Hill, Chemical Plant, Sky Sanctuary, etc." I like that the etc is just because road. And that's because they appear over and over again. Do you have a desire to create a more original environment like Sonic Colors? And Kishimoto responds back, "Of course I want to create an original environment." I use that tone because of the exclamation mark. However, in this game, we had the intention of creating an original environment in the open zone and an environment from previous games in the cyberspace in order to contrast them. However, after listening to everyone's opinion on this game, we've learned that they don't like the environments of previous games. And that's why it's controversial. It's not necessarily that we don't like them. It's that we're tired of them being reused, and we just want a taste of something new, you know? Don't delete the files for these levels. Don't get rid of them to never be seen again, but put them on ice and take them out in a couple of years. This next one is another interesting thing, and it's that there was an alternate enemy type that went entirely unused. And Kishimoto gets sent this from the art book and writes, "I actually made it and made it playable, but I found that it wouldn't fit in the memory due to the multi-platform relationship, so ultimately I gave up. However, I think that it was never a bad thing because the energy of that amount could be used to create other enemies." To which someone else replies to this thread, entirely unrelated with, "Kishimoto-san, will Blaze appear in future games?" And Kishimoto-san responds, "Hello, of course it is possible. Blaze is one of my favorite characters too." And with more playable characters and Blaze being not only a fan favorite, but one of his too, means the odds of Playable Blaze, I'd be willing to say, are actually really good. And this is the first time it seemed like even a possibility since before Colors. And no, you sickos, I'm not counting the racing games, let's be real here. Kishimoto next responds to a thread regarding issues with the model and animations, and this is a thread I actually fully 100% agree with. And it starts writing, "I would like to know if you would consider getting a new model for your next game. I would like to know how the team can create a model based on Yuji Ikawa's art style." I think it's Yuakawa, I said it wrong. Comments, don't destroy me, I'm not going to re-record the line. "The current game model has been around since 2008 and doesn't show much personality in my opinion." And they then attach this video writing, "Also, the animation feels like a step back from previous games." To which Kishimoto acknowledges these criticisms directly writing, "Thank you for your feedback. As you said, I think there are issues with the model and animation of the character Sonic, as well as its production. I will work on this in my next work." Wow, great job Kishimoto. Round of applause. Next, an armchair Twitter therapist does his annual check-in on his patient Morio Kishimoto, writing, "Hello. It's great to hear feedback from Sonic's fanbase, myself included. However, I have a little concern. ... I heard that you replied to a lot of tweets from this fan. Are you okay now? Can you really do all the things you say you'll do with the DLC in a year's time? If you can't, and if you need to defer these extras, I understand. I can wait. I can stand it." To which Morio helps this lost soul see the vision with, "Hello, thank you for your concern. Not all of your feedback will necessarily be implemented in the update. That's because there are opinions that should be addressed in the next game, not in an update." He then replies to himself with, "But that doesn't mean the update doesn't live up to your expectations. The production of the first series is now at its climax. Please look forward to it." And this first update talk gets continued in the next tweet. And banger warning, this is a huge one. I'm warning you because if you're walking, if you're standing, you're going to need to sit down for this one. So Kishimoto has been very hesitant to give details on anything specific about the updates that hasn't been announced. And they basically announced like nothing on the roadmap. However, fans of combat games are going to like this one for sure, with a user writing, "Hello Kishimoto, I love Sonic Frontiers and all the effort you and Sonic team put into it, especially the combat. I was wondering if we could add a survival mode like Devil May Cry's Bloody Palace. No worries. Laugh emote, and Kishimoto responds with, "Hello, I'm glad you like this game. I believe that the first update will be able to meet the expectations of combat-oriented gameplay like survival mode." Survival mode. Please wait for the update for a while. And oh my god! So not even update 2 or 3, but update 1? This is actually huge news because it seemed like update 1 was going to be just the fries to tease the burger and milkshake of 2 and 3. And some of you will be like, Jaden, why are you excited? I'm excited because survival modes traditionally have infinitely increasing challenge, and that's going to push even hardcore Sonic fans, something that wasn't really provided in any of Frontier's base game. And I'm just speaking for myself. I've seen some people say they found it challenging, but it's generally younger or newer fans to the series. I'm sorry. If you guys are mad, you're really just mad because bad. So to have something like this that will push even the best of players is genuinely exciting. And it's multiplied by the fact that we'll be getting it as soon as update 1. Which, by the way, I don't think we're going to be getting really that soon. Kishimoto keeps saying it's going to be a while, and frankly, he's being really candid with us. Maybe he's going to surprise us. Woohoo, here's your little thing. But in my opinion, I wouldn't expect it any earlier than late March or early April. And just so far, we've gotten tons of info alone, but this is only half of it. Seriously, this thing is over 40 minutes long. So for both of our sakes, I'm cutting you off here. Like if you liked, double check your subbed. It's important, double check. Set the bell to all because you're going to want to be notified when the next part of this drops in just a couple days. Follow on Twitter as Twitter hates me, and I need to change that. Please join the Discord. I'm going to be doing community stuff there soon. And most importantly, have a nice day. Lots of love and peace. Peace.
Balance, keep it a beam. Wanna be mad, I be on the scene. I suits, I can't fit in a jean. Use my stitch, but it's not